Hey guys, Ryan from Let Me Be Critic here with another streaming spotlight for you. Today I have 3 comedies on Netflix that you can watch right now. Like in all my streaming spotlight videos, there is no particular rankings. This is of course my opinion, but these are 3 shows that I'm a really big fan of that I don't think are talked about as much as some of the bigger comedies on Netflix, or of course, you know, The Office, Parks and Rec, That 70s Show, or Friends. Friends is gone now. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna watch? There's no Friends anymore. Well, I'm gonna give you 3 shows to watch. My first show is a 2-season Netflix original mockumentary series called American Vandal.
I know I didn't do it.
It is a shocking scene for Hanover High teachers today.
The vandal spray painted obscene images on 27 cars.
Oh my God.
I'll never understand what's so amusing about penises.
My name is Peter Maldonado, and I believe there are legitimate arguments for Dylan's innocence.
American Vandal is a show that I know is very popular in my generation. I know a lot of people my age are a big fan of it. I don't think it's really expanded much beyond that. It is a mockumentary show that is a great parody of pretty much all true crime documentary series and movies. Each season takes on its own case of something that happens inside of a high school, both of which are very graphic and very funny. And both are pretty much covered in the same way that any true crime show that you would watch on Netflix or any other streaming service. Although this is done in a very comedic tone and all of it is done for comedy. There's a few actors that you may have seen, the biggest being Jimmy Tatro, who is the suspect in the first season. All of the cast do a fantastic job in bringing this show to life and emulating the feel of a lot of true crime shows. If you haven't seen it and you do like mockumentaries, this is definitely one to watch. My next show is another Netflix original that is 3 seasons long, and it is the pro wrestling comedy series Glow.
Are you hiring actors to play wrestlers, or are we the wrestlers?
Go!
Yes. Woo! Christ. Fucking actresses.
Oh, fuck. It's out of film.
Glow, which is an ensemble cast led by Allison Brie, Betty Gilpin, and Mark Maron. Although Glow was a real wrestling promotion in the 1980s, it is very fictionalized. It's not the same exact story. I'm pretty sure all of these characters are made up. I know that upset a lot of the wrestlers that were from that time period because, of course, it's unfair that they didn't get their stories told and they didn't get any involvement in the series. Although I would say this is a fantastic show. Allison Brie gives a phenomenal performance as the main character. Betty Gilpin gives a great performance where they both play adversaries in the ring and in real life. Mark Maron is the director and the head of Glow. He is hilarious. He is everything you like about Mark Maron, the stand-up comedian. His dry sense of humor works very well with the girls, who are all great. Each character has something about them that you like or dislike, and it gets expanded upon throughout each season of the show. They even bring Gina Davis in the 3rd season, which is completely different from the first 2 seasons. One thing I would definitely say about the show that I like about it is that each season, although very similar to the other seasons, has something about it that makes it very distinct and very different. It has one more season coming out that I believe is going to be its final season, and I definitely think it is the time to binge it right now. Although this is a show about wrestling, you do not have to be a wrestling fan to watch this show. This show is mostly about the characters of the people involved in the wrestling promotion, which is very entertaining. I know a lot of people who aren't wrestling fans that love this show. My final show actually ties into Glow because it is the show that Allison Brie got her start in. It is the 6 seasons of Community, which are now on Netflix.
One community
Not a lot of people get a second chance.
will rise again,
All difficult things are better, like curing a disease or holding in a fart right now.
and everything we know
What if we purged all the weirdness from our systems?
will Chang.
I almost out of my balls.
We de-whimsified ourselves.
Jeff is in grave danger.
Great. I have to give more bad news to Jeff and his study group. Hold my calls. I have to pick an outfit.
In a rare deal where Community is now on Netflix and Hulu at the same time, this is now the perfect time to start binging Community if you are a fan of shows like The Office or Parks and Recreation and are looking for something else to watch of that like, especially now that those shows are going to be leaving Netflix sooner rather than later. Community is, of course, where Dan Harmon became very popular, the creator of this show, also the co-creator of Rick and Morty. A lot of the humor of Rick and Morty was started in Community, and I would say Community is actually a stronger series. Community has a crazy cast that you would not be able to get now. It starred Joel McHale, Donald Glover, Jim Rash, Chevy Chase, Jillian Jacobs, Allison Brie, Danny Pudi, Yvette Nicole Brown, Ken Jeong. That's just not a cast that you can get now. Most of those actors are doing their own shows, are in movies, they're doing other things. You would never be able to get this cast together now. You also have John Oliver, who's part of Last Week Tonight. He's the head of Last Week Tonight now. He's a actor in 3 seasons, I believe. He's a psychologist professor who just randomly starts teaching anthropology in season 2, which is fantastic. That's besides the point. It is a great show. If you've never seen Community, I know some people that were on the fence about it. I know there are some people like me who kind of couldn't get into it in the first 2 to 3 episodes. I would say go a little bit further. Season 1 is fantastic, but you do need to really get into it.
I'm staying in the sleep study lab. All I have to do is wake up every 3 hours and go, and I get 2 credits.
The way the show crafts each episode is fantastic. Some of the directors of a lot of the episodes of Community are the Russo brothers, who directed Infinity War and Endgame, as well as 2 Captain America films. So they're directed flawlessly. There's a lot of fantastic shows now that are molded because of Community. Like I said, Rick and Morty. And then, of course, Glow. A lot of stuff Allison Brie learned. She went off to that show. A lot of people who worked on Community have gone on to a lot of shows. Each season has something different about it. They do these crazy different kinds of episodes. There's a space travel episode. There's a video game episode where they're inside a video game. There's a zombie episode. There are paintball episodes, which are done like action movies, or done like an Old West film, or like Star Wars, and there's just things that they wouldn't be able to do in a lot of normal shows that they're able to do in Community, which is flawless. And the cast plays it off perfectly because they all know what kind of show they're in, and they play it exactly how the characters are supposed to be played. Dean Pelton in particular is a character that most people would be very offended by if not acted flawlessly by Jim Rash.
Who wants to hang out in a blanket fort with grown men in tiny underoos? Hello!
And that main core is what makes the show great. So the first 3 seasons are definitely the best. There are some seasons that aren't as good as others. There's some episodes that don't work as well as others. And the final season is a season that I've only seen parts of because NBC canceled the show after 5 seasons, and Yahoo picked it up to be on the streaming service Yahoo Screen. You've never heard of Yahoo Screen. Of course you haven't, because they put it on a couple of years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. It was up. It was a thing. I tried watching it. It barely worked. And it was cool because it was like, oh, Community's back. Like, everyone's gonna rally around Community. That was like the big show, was, oh, we have Community on Yahoo Screen. And it was just like an unwatchable streaming service. The season's fine. It's not a bad season. It's honestly better than season 4. I don't think season 6 is really a bad season. I couldn't watch it on Yahoo Screen. I only saw parts of it. I'm finally watching it now on Netflix, and I do like the season. It's different. They had to bring different actors in because other actors would leave, and some didn't really work, some did work, but I like all seasons of the show. I like the show. It's a great show. If you haven't seen Community, now is the time to watch Community. It's on 2 streaming services. You don't have any excuses. All right, guys, that was my streaming spotlight. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to do more of these. Like I said, I want to do a Hulu one. I'm probably going to do another Netflix one. I'm probably going to do one for dramas. Leave me down in the comments what shows you think I should recommend that people don't really talk about. Maybe shows I haven't seen that I should give a look at before I do the next video. Let me know. I'll see you next time.